Conor McGregor, for a period of time, electrified the sport like no one else. He burned through 2 divisions with a nation backing his every move. He called his shots and described exactly how his fights would go with uncanny accuracy. He brought the eyes of the world onto mixed martial arts. But just as quickly as he made it to the top, he would come crashing back down. After all the money, all the success, all the fame, he had nothing left to prove. He began to spiral down a path of partying, drugs and alcohol. With all the yes men around him, he began to buy into his own hype. All of this culminated into what I like to call fucking scumbag Conor. This 2018 to 2019 version of Conor was erratic, loud and just crazy. He was going around smashing buses, smashing phones, getting smashed. But what happened to Conor is best described by this quote from Habib. "Money in your hands is good. Money on your mind is bad." It seemed like it was over for Conor. He was falling down the cliche road of the successful fighter going crazy and tarnishing their legacy. The likeable, light-hearted, playful Conor was replaced by, well, this.
Why you took money from Magomedov? Hold on, you took money. You took money from Magomedov and you were a little lick-ass rat. Now what? Putin locked him up. Say something to Putin about locking Magomedov up. Say something. Ask him to release him again.
But somehow, some way, he made it out of this dark place in his life. Maybe it was through becoming a father, maybe it was through finding his love for mixed martial arts again, maybe it was through all of his mistakes that he found his way back on the right track. With a 40-second knockout win in 2020, it seemed like he was back to his winning ways. Clear-headed and purposeful heading into the Dustin fight, he appeared to be on an upward trajectory which would ultimately result in him reclaiming the throne that was once his. However, things did not necessarily go as planned. Conor looked good in the first round. However, as the calf kicks began to add up, he was immobilized and finished in the second. Although this flaw in Conor's wide stance has always seemed pretty obvious, his legs way out there, just kick it. It's only now that someone has brought it to the limelight and handed everybody the blueprint on how to beat Conor. Now, he's left in a precarious position. If he loses the trilogy fight, it'll likely be curtains for his career. But even if he wins, he'll still be swimming in the shark tank that is the 155-pound division. Does Conor still have what it takes to beat Dustin and reclaim the throne, or will it be a repeat of the second fight? Firstly, I would like to address the point that most people seem to be talking about regarding this fight. Where was Conor's trash talk? Throughout Conor's career, he's proven the effectiveness of mental warfare many times, none more evident than his crowning achievement at UFC 194. For about a year leading up to the bout, Conor tormented Jose Aldo every time he saw him. They went on world tours together, shared multiple press conferences, and in every single interaction, Conor would verbally humiliate Aldo. The most revealing moment in the build-up was the complete contrast in how the two would react when put in enemy territory. In the Rio de Janeiro presser, the entire crowd was seething with hatred towards Conor. They chanted the Portuguese phrase, "U vai morrer," "You're going to die." Anybody else would have been slightly taken aback by the hostility, but being Conor, he decides to provoke the crowd even more, and when the two faced off, Conor stared Aldo dead in the eyes and used his own language against him. The double presser was a complete whitewash for Conor. Everybody in the crowd was screaming in support of Conor. To top it all off, Conor runs over it, steals the belt and raises it in the air for everybody to see. As a Conor supporter, this press conference is a joy to watch. As an Aldo supporter, this could not have gone any worse. Aldo was reactive, emotionally charged, and just not having a good time. The fight happens. After a year's worth of taunting, trash talk and hype, Aldo wanted to get in there and hit him with all he had. He brought the fire and the ferocity from the press conferences into the fight. Unfortunately for him, he played right into Conor's hands.
If he shows up, I feel we'll KO him inside one. If he makes that walk and if he is in the octagon, I feel every single movement I make will get an overreaction off of him because he's emotionally invested in it. There's too much in it for him. The whole country of Brazil, it's all piling on him. So I feel if I just go, he will react a million times too much. That's what I see the fight playing now. I feel him overreacting, overextending, and then being KO'd unconscious.
Jose Aldo, the greatest featherweight champion the sport has ever seen, unbeaten in 10 years, was put out in 13 seconds. Not to discredit Conor's performance, but in my opinion, the mind games he played with Aldo was a big contributing factor to the highlight reel finish. Maybe it would have happened either way, but the trash talk had to have played some part in weakening Aldo's mental state. But this begs the question, Where were all of these mind games in the lead up to his rematch with Dustin? Whether or not Conor was playing up a nice guy persona or not is unclear, although him being nice throughout both the Cowboy fight and the Dustin fight would suggest he genuinely changed for the better. It also seems he still has that venom and spite within him. No matter what the real answer is, it doesn't change the fact that Conor should not trash talk Dustin in the lead up to their trilogy fight. Despite the effectiveness that mind games can bring to the table, especially for a quick-witted speaker like Conor, bringing back the bravado and trash talk in an attempt to get into Dustin's head would be a subtle sign of weakness. Conor has already established that he's now too mature for trash talk, and given that he can sell pay-per-views on a dime, the only rational explanation for the trash talk in the lead up to this fight would be to get into Dustin's head and mitigate his performance. This would subtly tell Dustin, I am not confident in my abilities to win this fight, so I must resort to mental warfare to take the edge off Dustin's performance. Signs of weakness are definitely not what you want to communicate to your opponent. On top of this, what material would Conor have to speak on? He lost his last fight. He's won 3 out of his last 6 fights. What can he even say? If Conor even tries to trash talk Dustin, he's setting himself up for a verbal beatdown. Nice Conor is the Conor we need, although he might not be showing up at the press conferences. Secondly, and maybe the most poignant talking point in this fight, is Conor's karate stance. Is karate stance Conor the one to beat Dustin? Although a karate stance allows for more mobility and evasive maneuvers, it isn't the magic bullet to solving leg kicks. In fact, leg kicks are especially effective against karate fighters, as we've seen from Wonderboy and MVP. Conor's stance isn't his issue. The most crucial adjustment for Conor to make is to add kicks back into his arsenal. In Conor's fight against Eddie Alvarez, he had a very similar stance to the one he has now adopted, but the difference is, he used kicks to effectively manage the distance with Eddie, stopping him from shooting in for takedowns and chopping down his leg. Even in Conor's first fight against Dustin, he managed the distance with his kicks as well as shutting down parts of Dustin's offense. But for some reason in the rematch, he threw a whopping 1 kick at Dustin. 1! Why is this? Oh yeah, because he used the Dustin fight as a precursor to an upcoming Manny Pacquiao fight. Nice! By throwing kicks in the trilogy fight, he'll be able to chip away at Dustin from a distance, forcing him to move into Conor's range where he'll be open for counters. But the X factor for this fight is without a doubt Conor's dedication to fighting. It's no secret that after that $100 million payday from Floyd, and the money he's made from his whiskey brand, Conor's motivation to train has understandably diminished. They say it's tough to get out of bed to do road work at 5 AM when you've been sleeping in silk pajamas. I'd assume it's a hell of a lot harder when you're waking up as a multi-millionaire celebrity. Not to discredit Dustin, but whether or not Conor is in tune for this fight will make all the difference. If Conor goes into this fight zoned in and with the right adjustments, he has all the tools necessary to beat Dustin. But if he isn't all there, Dustin runs him over. We've heard all the mythical tales about Conor's left hand, but he can't just keep relying on his natural speed and power. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and damn does Dustin work hard. In the time since Conor's fight against Eddie, Dustin has won 7 fights and lost once, whereas in that same space of time, Conor has won once and lost twice. All the stats suggest Dustin wins this fight. In their previous fight, Conor was a huge betting favourite and now he's a slight underdog. So does Conor have the ability to go in and win this fight and make it back to the top of the division? We know Dustin will go into this fight prepared. If Conor does too, I think he takes it. Given that the last time Conor had a rematch coming off a loss, he was surgical with his preparations and game plan. I have faith he pulls it off. A good sign for Conor fans is in the lead up to his rematch at UFC 202, he ceased all media obligations, similar to what he's done here. These subtle signals are indicating Conor's coming into this fight fully focused and ready. If I were to make a call based on all of the information we have, I would have to slightly lean in favour of Conor. He still has it in him. He isn't washed up. He's in peak physical condition. If he's been training as hard as he says he has, and if he's been working on the right things, we could see the reignition of the McGregor era. But regardless of who wins, I'll be happy for them. Dustin's a great guy and Conor's Conor. But what about you guys? I'd love to see your thoughts and your breakdowns in the comments below. And while you're down there, you may as well just hit the like and subscribe button. Anyways, sorry for the long layoff, school and all that kind of delayed my schedule and killed my motivation a bit, but I'm back, I'm ready to go. See you guys in the next video.